What's up, guys? I know it's been a minute, but I'm really excited to get back working on the John boat. For today's video, I'm going to be finishing up the front deck and getting all the wood prepped for epoxy. Now, usually I try to get about 1 to 2 videos done per week just to keep things moving and keep me on schedule with the boat, getting it ready for the summer. But I've got a really good reason why I missed the last week, and I'm going to show you that right now. And this right here is the reason. Everyone, I would like you to meet Luna. If you guys have been following the channel for any length of time, you've probably seen my old dog, Molly. She was around for the last couple boat builds. She's usually milling around on the ground. Unfortunately, we lost her about a month or so ago, and we weren't really ready for a new dog at that point, but the stars kind of aligned, and we ended up with Luna, our purebred German Shepherd. So you're hopefully going to be seeing a lot more of her. If any of you guys have German Shepherds, I'd love to hear about it. It's been an experience training her so far. She's learned a lot. She picks up things really quick. She's in her land shark phase where she just wants to test everything with these teeth. And let me tell you, they are some chompers. All right, without further ado, let's get back to the video. All right, so where we left this off last time was that I had just finished setting up the center wood for the top deck here. For today's video, I need to figure out how to measure and brace the side wedges to basically fill in that top deck and then get everything ready for epoxy. I'm hoping to use a cardboard template. That's what I have here to get started. Once I have my templates cut, I have some scrap wood that I'm gonna use to fill in those sides. We can get them all connected and make sure everything fits. All right, so here's the scrap wood that I'm gonna be using. It's the same thickness as the wood that's already been cut. I think what I need to do, if I could just trim this piece down a little bit, I might even be able to use it as a template. What I'm going to do is mark a couple spots on here. Actually, I'm going to do this. Set this up in the same position it was in. Clamp that in place. I can go through. Perfect. So basically, this wedge right here is the piece of wood that I'm going to need. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this wedge out, and I'm going to see if it fits, and then we'll know we're on the right track here. All right, with that trimmed up, let's see how this looks. I'm gonna go ahead and use this as a template and cut a nice clean piece of wood with some better angles, and then we'll go from there. So I don't even know why I was messing around with the jigsaw, because I forgot. Between now and the last video, I picked up one of these cordless circular saws to make all this so much easier. Oh yeah, much, much cleaner. I'll take that. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this end off. Trim that end off. How did you get over there? All right, and with that trimmed off, pretty much have our piece in place here. So now we gotta do the same thing to the other side. Now, before I do that, I wanna make a couple marks on this wood here. I can't have this board moving around anymore, because now that we have this piece, the other piece needs to fit that side. All right, so with a couple adjustments, I am really, really happy with how this one is shaping up here. I'm gonna go ahead and get these two pieces connected on both sides. Like I said, I'm just gonna run a strip of wood under them, probably put a little bit of wood glue on there, and then a couple screws, and that should really seal that all up. Then I can work on getting this all epoxied and then cutting out our center hatch. Okay, so I'm gonna use my first two scrap pieces to join these two pieces of wood together. I'm gonna trim it back a little bit. I'm gonna leave a gap at the front so we can connect to the front panel there. All right, well, I wasn't planning on using epoxy, but you know what? It's gonna be even better than wood glue. So I'm gonna be using this coated epoxy. I have some left over from when I did the boat bottom. So worked more than fine for putting a couple pieces of wood together. I've been meaning to use up some of these jars I got sitting around, so this will work out really well. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this. I've done this enough times now, but if you guys are interested in how to use epoxy, I've got a lot of really great videos on it. I've epoxied the boat bottoms on like 3 different boats now, so I can throw some links in the description and also on some cards on the video, so you guys will be able to check them out if you want. So with the epoxy mixed up, I'm gonna do a bead on each side of the wood here, lay the new piece down, and then tack it down with some screws. Okay, I'm trying to do this a little quick because I want to get the other side done too. Okay, that looks good. Now, I know that this is probably a lot of work where I could have just gone and bought some more plywood and then just cut this to shape. And who knows, depending on how this ends up, I may be doing that anyway. But I'm really trying to do this as budget as I can, and that means using as much scrap as I can. So I've got extra wood, I've got extra epoxy. It didn't cost me nothing to do. I hope you guys appreciate just the intention behind this. This isn't necessarily a tutorial on the best way to do this. If you were doing it yourself, start with the right size plywood and you won't have to go through any of this. All right, so as I said, this is a little unorthodox, but I do think it's gonna work. Now I just gotta give this epoxy some time to dry. We'll double check in the morning and see how it looks, see how it fits, and see how sturdy it is. All right, well, it's the next day. I got the board flipped back over and it is looking completely solid. On the reverse side here, I'll show you guys what I did one more time. I joined the 2 pieces of wood together. I braced it with another piece of plywood. So with the epoxy sandwiched between it and also between the wood, this has now basically fused into 1 piece of wood. I would be perfectly fine stepping on the joints now because it's just completely reinforced. I had these random scrap pieces of aluminum. I put this on top of the joints on each side and then I used a clamp to hold it down. The aluminum really isn't there for reinforcement, but it did give a place for my clamps to sit so it didn't get stuck in the epoxy. Now I want to go ahead and test fit this in the boat, see how we're looking. So if this fits, the next thing I want to start working on is the aluminum bracing for the whole top deck here. As I said, I want this to be walkable, and the best way we're going to do that is to give it lots of supporting bracing. All right, so let's see how this fits. That's looking perfect. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to see. It is now filled in the entire top deck. It lines up perfectly straight along the back bench, so that'll be nice and flush. And then of course on the front here, it's sitting on that front panel to give it really good vertical support to stand on the end there. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is actually remove this piece here. This has gotten really loose as I've been just taking the board on and off and slamming this piece around. They fresh rivet to really shore this one up. Once that's level, I'm gonna go ahead and add about 1, 2, 3 more. So we'll have 4 braces along the top. Then I'm gonna do a couple more braces on the back side of this front panel here. That will get this piece nice and braced. And then I can figure out how we're gonna do some cross bracing to get this all walkable. And if you haven't worked with rivets before, the way you take a rivet out, you just basically drill right through the head here. That disconnects the head from the flared out part, and then you can just pop a new rivet into the same hole. I'm gonna pop this one back on with a fresh rivet, and then we'll start getting this one leveled out, and we'll work off this one. This is why having that swivel head is so helpful for more leverage. That is much more solid now. Trimmed off the corner here to get it as close as I could to the sidewall, really giving support for that junction between the 2 pieces of wood. Now, of course, if you have the material available, you could always just run 1 piece of aluminum across the front of the boat. I'm working with a lot of scrap pieces I have, so I'm trying to utilize those the best I can without cutting into the couple pieces of longer aluminum. I'm trying to save those pieces for vertical supports. Oh yeah. really good. Now, one more on this side here. We'll be good to go. I gotta say, the swivel head on this rivet gun is so incredibly useful. If you guys don't have a rivet tool, I'll throw a link in the description for this one. It has been, honestly, a game changer based on the one I was using before this. And one last test. Once this is all tied together, this is gonna be absolutely perfect. I'm adding these tabs on the back side of this front panel here, just to give this something to secure to. So now this side is completely braced. When it comes time for installation, I'm gonna tack a couple screws through here right into these braces, and then that'll shore up this front panel, which will make it even more of a support for the panel that goes on top. All right, so with the bracing done down here, I'm gonna tack in one more brace on this side, get this all fit back together, and see how it looks. Okay, well, stage one of the front deck build is now complete. I have my top panel, my front panel, and bracing all around. Now, another interesting idea could possibly be having this hinged, where this whole thing opens up. That would actually be really cool. Oh, I love that idea. I was just thought about that as I'm sitting here looking at this. I could throw a piano hinge along the back there. Oh, how cool would that be? You would have total access. I wouldn't have to cut into this top panel at all. It would make bracing really, really easy. And I don't have to spend the $30 to $40 on a hatch. It doesn't look the prettiest on the underside, so we're gonna have to clean this all up and get it nice and painted. Wow, this is gonna be really cool. I'm really excited about this. I totally did not expect that I was gonna end it this way, but I think that's what I'm gonna do now. This is gonna turn itself into a front opening hatch lid. I'm really eager to get moving on all of this. I'm excited to get the boat out for one. I'm really excited to test out the new motor that I haven't showed you guys yet. But most of all, I've got a lot of rigging to do, and it's not gonna be easy until I get everything else complete. So at this point, I'm going to end the video here. If you guys have any questions or feedback about the build, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you guys want to follow along with the John boat build and see all the cool stuff I got in store, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I see she already wants to be a part of the videos. Get this open so she can see everything. All right, you're going to have to stay out there, okay? Yeah, the pup didn't want to be alone, so this is where she's going to be.